a dime.
Hudson pulls up, and there it is.
Atlanta ready to seal the deal.
Great barrier thief. Trey, what a move.
Will fire one up at the buzzer.
Behind the back.
Wilkins, look out.
Wow.
Malik, it might be time to switch that to Cole Pete and
I was like, we might have to switch that.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to we done switched the intro and the outro 80 times. It might be time for 81. Not 83 though. 81. Welcome back to Birds and Buckets, man. I'm Rashad Milligan here with Malik Brown. Malik, how you feeling, man?
Good, bro. How you living?
Man, I can't call it. So, backstage, the guest this week, man, is one of my favorites ever, man. I have such high praises for this guy. One of the best basketball minds I've come in contact with. And he really broke down the game a lot for me early on in my career, post-college and things of that sort. We used to talk all the time. And then I just stopped logging into the Slack. So that's on me. I stopped logging into the Slack. So we lost a bit of a connection right there over the last few years because I stopped going on the Slack, everything like that. I hope he doesn't think that I just like ghosted him on Slack for 8 years. But we got my dog in the building, man. Glen Willis. Glen, what up?
Hey guys. Well, I got a couple things there. One is Rashad, I follow your work, man, on Twitter. I see all the great work you do, and man, I'm really proud of you. Could be more proud of you. And the funniest story I have about Malik is that in the draft where the Falcons were looking for a quarterback, Malik and I decided at one point if the Falcons drafted Malik Willis, we were going to start the Malik Willis podcast. I'm not sure about that. You ever talking about that, Malik?
I don't remember that. Are you serious?
What? We had paperwork and everything. Yeah. Anyway, it was a joke. It was a long time ago. But we had fun with it.
Well, look, now he's in Miami, right?
Exactly right. Now Tua's in Atlanta. So anyway,
right.
Hogs. Yeah. So anyway.
It was close to get. It was really close. I'm getting Malik back in Atlanta this offseason. But hey, it happened. It is what it is. Glen, man, do you remember like all the things that you used to teach me about the game of basketball back in the olden age of 2018?
The olden age of 2018, yeah. Yes, I remember the questions. I remember like putting some clips into Slack, and this is called this, and this is called this, and this is called this. I'm always happy to kind of share my knowledge. I have a coaching background. I feel like every year I get further from when I actually coach. My twin brother still coaches, runs a big. He lives in Richmond, Virginia. He runs a big basketball program there, and he coaches a high school girls team and stuff like that. So for me, it's more podcasts, Patreon, kind of video, the technical stuff. That's there, but I love questions and kind of be able to be resourceful for people that are curious about kind of learning whether it's terminology or concepts or scheme or whatever it is.
I remember, I think it was Melvin Hunt, and he was talking about it on Twitter. Like he was trying to keep track of all the terminology, like the new slang, because it changes so often in the game of basketball and stuff like that. And I always just thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah, he and I DM a lot. Like there are times I'm like, I think I saw this. Hey, coach, what am I seeing? What I think I see, and like 9 times out of 10, I got it right. He's like, no, this is a little. This is called something that, and so it's pretty cool to have that. Even if it's just over DMs, this relationship where he's just like always happy to kind of, I'm like, I think I saw this, and I see what I thought I saw, and he's like, let's work on this, so it helps me a lot.
But coaches and players. First of all, shout out Melvin Hunt. But coaches and players, they are always like they're so happy to talk about basketball because like. So many of our questions in the media are just like, you ate a cheese sandwich, but you're wearing the new Jordans. How did the cheese sandwich and like so many of our questions are that because, we're asking questions on behalf of the fans, A, but also like B, a lot of us watch the games from a fan's perspective as opposed to like how they see it, which is a whole nother world. Like, I think David Lee does a great job of that. Shouts out to D Lee.
Absolutely.
What was the name? D Lee for 3?
D Lee for 3, yeah.
D Lee for 3.
It was the
And it's
first person
crazy
I
his
thought
name's
about when
David
you
Lee
said
too,
that.
because you always think about the New York Knicks, Golden State Warriors, David Lee. But yeah, shouts out to him, bro.
We got the better David Lee on our side here, so yeah. Shouts to David Lee. Great career. Don't take it.
All-Star David Lee. NBA 2010 NBA All-Star David Lee.
Yeah, there you go.
But let's get into it, man. Is this fraudulent or not? 8 wins in a row. I think it's fraudulent. I'm not sipping the Kool-Aid. We got 5 minutes. We caught up with Glen. This the most fraudulent. See, you always have to take March and April win streaks or whatever the case might be with a grain of salt, because half of the league is purposely trying to lose, especially in a draft like this. You saw the intro with the 2 franchise generational shifters. The Hawks have no chance at getting them now because DeJounte Murray is playing every game like it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And I mean, I'm not buying. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I've seen enough of this team to know that no, this team is not peaking at the right time. No, this team is not clicking. No, they're just playing bad teams. I mean, there is something to say that you're beating bad teams every night, because Hawks of old didn't do that. Well, congratulations. But this is fraudulent. Everybody else, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be, so this is absolutely a soft spot in the schedule. Like, that's unquestionable, right? Very soft spot in the schedule. And you're right, after the trade, we can say All-Star break or trade deadline or both, like the league breaks into a completely different kind of mode. And the teams that want to enhance their draft pick status race to the bottom. Teams that are trying to kind of win and kind of try to get up out of the play-in or trying to push upward. And it's almost like, Moses and the Red Sea's like things just go into, like, there's this and this, these 2 categories, But if you look at the schedule, like right now, one thing I'll say is you play the games that are on the schedule, right? That's just how the schedule works. But if you go look to like the last, say, 3 weeks of March, say March and April, there are some tough. The last 3 weeks are going to be tough schedule-wise. So they have to win these winnable games that they have right now if they're going to put themselves in range of possibly getting to 6, right? Got all these different things like, the Sixers have lost Tyrese Maxey for maybe 3 weeks. And Paul George is, I think, maybe 4 or 5 games from coming off of his suspension. I don't remember the exact number there. So there's some stuff. And Orlando plays up and down, and Miami does some weird stuff, and and things like that. But the last 3 weeks, right now, it's nice that they can rest Dyson against the bad team. It's nice they can rest Kuminga against the bad team. That helps them be ready for that late push. Because when they get to the last, say, 10, 12 games, they're going to need everybody healthy to have a chance to win as many of those games as possible. And that's going to be the difference between getting at maybe to 6 or being at 7, 8. Are they healthy? And then so the resting guys right now is helpful for that. But those last 3 weeks, that there's some tough games in there.
Yeah, I've noted like April is brutal. It's bad. And like Glenn said, you kind of got to win these games now. Terrence asked me yesterday at the game, it was like 1 through 10, how like real do you think this streak is? And I was like 6, 7. I literally did say 6, 7 because I was like, they're winning these games that they're supposed to win. Like Rashad, you said, I guess back at like we're just known for literally any Atlanta sports team to kind of lose games they're supposed to win and win the games that's like, oh wow, they really did that. But they're kind of doing what they need to do. Like Glenn said, you kind of get the rest Kuminga for some time. But I just think they've kind of been playing well throughout the streak. There's been a few games where I think the Sixers and the Bucks where they were down like first half and you're kind of like, here we go. But they came back, made a run, and ended up winning. So that's encouraging on their part for sure. And then, they beat up on the Wizards twice. And the 2 Nets games actually were like kind of, we don't know what's going to happen until, sometime in the fourth quarter they came and turned it on and got things going. So there's been some good wins and some wins where, you can see them kind of figuring it out as a team and hitting stride. So I want to call it fraudulent. They are playing bad teams, but they're doing what they need to do to kind of set themselves up for, the end of the season. Because like the Magic are winning, the Heat are winning. So you kind of got to stay in that realm if you want to get 6, 7, 8 or whatever.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like the conversation we've been having at ATL 29 is up until this trade deadline, they had one center that could play. That was Onyeka. They asked Asa and Mo to fake it, like because Kristaps wasn't playing. Completely unfair to Asa and Mo to ask them to play center, ask them to play backup center, right? But they tried. I want to give them credit for going out there and trying. But adding Kuminga, so now they've shifted. The front court is more tilted towards offense. Like Landale can shoot, O can shoot. Jalen is, the centerpiece of the offense right now. He has CJ as a 1B to help him out, to not have to have all the workload. But the backcourt tilts towards defense, even though there's a lot of offensive capability now. Like Nikhil's took a huge step up offensively this year, right, and all of that. But now they have more offensively oriented front court or defensively oriented backcourt, and they have more roster balance. And right now, Quinn can play. For me, the point of attack defenders are in order. 1A is Dyson, 1B is Nikhil, Gabe Vincent. And that he plays, doesn't play depending on matchup. He's a little smaller, so if the other team's playing a really big lineup, sometimes Vincent won't play in that as much in that game. And then Zach is a good point of attack defender as well. He's put him in that. And Quinn has the option to play 2 of those 4 all 48 minutes if he wants to. If he wants to have 2 point of attack defenders on the floor for all 48 minutes, he can. The key there is not falling behind, because you fall behind, you got to tilt towards offense, and then you lose the ability to kind of use your defense to kind of create offense. So it's a much more balanced roster now, for sure. Actually have a backup power forward, actually have a backup center, and it helps that they can kind of play 5 out through their 5 and their 4, and that they can actually generate ball pressure and like bleed the shot clock when the other team has the ball to try to get it down to, hey, we're only have to defend 13 seconds of shot clock because it took them 8 seconds to get the ball across half court, or where the ball pressure does. And so Quinn now has solutions he didn't have before the trade deadline. Before the trade deadline, it was a freaking train wreck in terms of like who can play center, who can play backup forward. I love Mo, but there's some matchups where, maybe yes, maybe no. But the tilting the front court towards offense, the back court towards defense, just gives Quinn solutions he did not have before the trade deadline.
It's funny that you say that, Glenn, about Mo, because the last game, yesterday's game, he didn't come in until maybe, I think, second half, and because they were rolling with Jock, and of course Kuminga was healthy, so he couldn't play. He wasn't playing backup power forward, but Jock just didn't have it at all yesterday at all. So he moves Mo to center, and I feel like honestly when him and Nikhil started fourth quarter, that's kind of what kind of turned the switch on for them, and they kind of went on that run and kind of won the game. So like you said, they have the ability to kind of go to those offensive centric lineups, and it kind of leaves like Mo on the outside, but it's good that you still have him because he plays really good defense, and they needed him, I feel like, last night.
Yeah, I mean, Onyeka is like not the greatest rim protector. I mean, he's good like getting to the level and getting up the floor and helping contain the ball screens. Landale can't really do that. He doesn't move as well, so he's more of a drop guy, but he'll still get up there and make the effort when that's what they're asking him to do. But the fact that you have 2 offensively oriented centers, all the ball pressure you can throw on the floor to protect those guys on the back line means everything to those guys. I mean, what you don't want is ball handlers driving straight at Onyeka, straight at Jock the whole game, because they don't really have kind of the ability to kind of just keep them off the rim. The guard defense they can throw on the floor now just protects those guys and it reduces the amount of times they have to like try to rescue a possession where guys driving straight at them with full-fledged right down the middle of the floor. So that the ball pressure is the whole key to protecting your backline defense, and the Hawks have that. But last year, Dyson was the only guy who could do it on the roster ever. Literally, no one else could do it but Dyson. Now they got Dyson, Nikhil, Zach's coming along, and Gabe Vincent, when he plays enough, can do it too. And that's very helpful to a backline that's not as big, not all that sort of stuff. So that's helpful.
I personally hate Gabe Vincent. I mean, like I said, so salute to your defense and whatnot. I mean, like we said, classic line from True Brain. Salute to your defense and whatnot. But I really hate the fact that he's playing over. I just honestly, I just hate the fact that Buddy Hield's not playing. To be honest, like I feel like sometimes they could use a little offense. When Kispert isn't necessarily going, when Gabe isn't, doing this against the Brooklyn Nets, like sometimes I Why Glenn? Why is he not playing a single minute? Like you could say, okay, he's out of the rotation because simply defense at this point of his career, after injuries and his age, he just isn't viable, and the offense doesn't subset the deep. Like, but why isn't he playing at all? Like, not even a single second each night.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's interesting because when he was in Golden State until the trade deadline, it was a pretty rough shooting season for him. Now, Golden State, they're not really running. They didn't really run an offense that conducive to like him being able to do the things that he can do, and so his role was really kind of squished into like a different kind of role. So I want to put that asterisk there that it looked pretty different. The key for me is what you will see is if we get to the point of schedule where they're playing better teams, especially better defensive teams, and the Hawks fall behind, Quinn will probably turn to, buddy. You gotta spam 3-point shooting when you're down 15 coming into the fourth quarter, right? Those may be the times where we see him. Now, Buddy looks happy. He's cheering his teammates on. He doesn't look, he doesn't look stressed. He looks like he's good vibes, all that sort of stuff. But when we get to games where the Hawks have got to generate more shots at the 3-point line to try to create more points coming down the stretch, that might be where we see him as opposed to Gabe, right? Because that's what NBA coaches do. We got to play from behind. We spam 3-point shooters, and we go from there. And Gabe's a good 3-point shooter as well. But there are some games where he's just not big enough for if the other team's playing a really, really big lineup, Gabe doesn't work in that game, to the same degree. Value his defense, but yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen them play from behind a lot, during this soft schedule stretch. But when they're playing a top 5 defense, they're going to need more shooting on the floor. That might be a time where you see Buddy, kind of pulled out of the end of the bench and break glass, a cave of emergency, go make some threes for his buddy.
I love that. I love to hear that. I love that. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Where else are we? Where is we going right here? Okay, all right. Let's look at the standings real quick. Okay, so the Hawks have moved up to 8. They won 8 in a row. Philly has lost 1, and then like you said, Maxey hurt himself in Atlanta at the end of that game. He's out for a little while. Toronto has lost 2. And including the Pelicans game, they look like they're kind of really regressing. That is something to watch. You're looking for the one team. Who's the one team that was going to slip out? It looks like it was Toronto. So now the Hawks have to take advantage of that. Miami, obviously, they won 7 in a row. Talk of the town for the week as well. I didn't realize that Miami only won 7 in a row as well. I knew that Orlando had 6 in a row because people were talking about the entire division locking in, except for, the tanking team. I don't know how the NBA is allowing that. I know they put some pressure on them and they put in some call just because Trae Young put on some clothes. So like Adam Silver definitely made a call to make Trae Young put on a jersey this year, but they're doing it still at a level. Oh, Trae, sit the fourth quarter down. Trae doesn't play back to back. Trae ain't that hurt. Trae was only not playing because the Hawks was about to trade him. That's the only reason why he wasn't playing. So it ain't he got to make sure he 100% and come on, man. And Adam Silver wasn't even paying attention because he don't watch the Wizards. He didn't notice until he seen Trae back in Atlanta. And Trae, the NBA posted him crying and waving to the fans. He said, "Why is he in street clothes?" And that's when he made the call, and you see him put
literally the next week he played. That's hilarious.
He's playing like 18 minutes. He's playing like 18 minutes or so. He's not playing 30 minutes. So they get in the second half. They're like, "Yeah, we're good, Trae. Take a seat." We gotta lose this game, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Trae is so good, bro. Like I was just watching him, like just him for like the first half in New Orleans, and I was like, bro, like some of the stuff it was just stuff I was paying attention to, the little things, like the little thing. I remember KL used to bring him up and stuff like that and post them. Shout out KL, shout out ATL 29. But it was so many little things he was doing on the court, just like to like get the person next to him like uncomfortable, just to make sure they're never comfortable on the court, like fidgety things. And then I understand why players hate him, bro. I understand, and I always saw that in Atlanta, but it was different just watching just him for a first half and stuff like that, and keeping my eyes just on him to see everything he was doing off the ball and stuff like that. Shout out to Trae. I'm interested to see what that looks like with AD. At first, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a problem." Now I'm like, that might not be much different than what we're seeing right now. Because I'm looking at Dallas and everything, and they don't look that much different without AD. They were losing with them, they're losing without them. So I don't know. Who do we see dropping out? Do we see Miami dropping out? Do we see Orlando dropping out? Who do we see dropping out of here for the Hawks to get the 6?
I mean, it's so hard to see. Like Miami, I mean, I feel like they're kind of playing above where I would expect them to play right now. They're not like, but at the same time, they are so committed to like what they run and what they're. I mean, they're very disciplined. They're a machine. Like what they do on both ends of the court, they're just straight up a machine. And they don't let anyone play that's not going to go out there and do everything right. That's just not a thing that they tolerate, you know. So even though they're from a talent perspective, you look at their roster, like how do they do this? Like because it's Tyler Hero and Bam, and then some just middle of the road, but they do the things that Spo asked them to do all the time, and that's how they win games. It's just through sheer discipline, effort, commitment to scheme, commitment to one another. And if someone's messing up, Spo's like, you're on the bench, we're going some other direction, but they're very committed to that. So I know when we talked about the Bam 83-point game on the last 18-29, I was like, I'll use Rashad's word, fraudulent for me. Like it's just all the fouling in the game and all that sort of stuff. But that happened in the Wilt 100-point game too. Like that, that's a thing that happens, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, I appreciate Bam's game, but I was watching that. I was like, this is embarrassing. So. But for me, like, yeah, they're just committed to what they do. They're really committed to what they do. From the Lando perspective, they're still a team that struggles offensively, like a lot. Like Paolo's not efficient offensively. He'll have a good game here and there, but he generates a pretty like weird shot profile. They don't really have a point guard. Like Jalen Suggs is really good defensively, but he's not a point guard. Bane kind of runs the offense a little bit. And so, but they like they're really physical in defense. Like they're ridiculously physical in defense, and it's hard to get to the rim, hard to get to the paint when they're doing that. So a little bit of same Miami quality too. That's there as well. And so it's gonna be interesting to see kind of how this all shakes out and how the Hawks can navigate the remaining games they have in division, because those divisional games are going to really have maybe the biggest impact on where they land seeding wise, where they get above 7 or they don't get above 7.
Yeah, if I had to guess, not put my money on it, if I had to guess, I feel like Orlando might be the one to drop. I don't know. I just feel like Miami always figures it out at the right time. And of course, they're just figuring it out right now. Like Glen said, when you look at the roster, they don't really have much, but they just play the right way. And I just always go back to the play-in game last year and just how that all just kind of unfolded and everything. And I was like, man, Miami just like, they just turn it on at the right time. Like Tyler Hero just goes off on a 15 on his own scoring run, and they're up or whatever. So I think I take my chance on Orlando because they're not that great offensively. Like I said, no point guard. Paolo isn't really that great offensively. I feel like Desmond is kind of the one that's been stepping up recently and kind of helping them. And I also feel, I don't know if Franz is coming back, but when him and Paolo on the court, it just doesn't mesh right. I feel like when either one of them is off the court, that's when they do better. Like when they're both on the court at the same time, I don't have the stats or anything for this, but it just feels like it's just not, it doesn't mesh. So I would definitely put my money on Orlando probably being the one out of those two teams to slip.
Yeah, those two guys. It's a weird fit for those two guys, Franz and Paolo, right? Because Paolo's trying to be a bully and try to get to the rim, and he doesn't do it great. He ends up with a lot of mid-range shots, not super efficient. Franz has a lot more a dribble package, a lot more. He has more shot creation that kind of works for him than Paolo. But it does look like you're watching like when it was Trey DeJounte. It was like your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, that kind of thing when you watch the team. And part of that is not having a point guard that can say, we're doing this, stop over dribbling, stop over possessing the ball. We're going to move the ball. We're going to cut. We're going to do all those things. And it takes a kind of a point guard / old school term, floor general, to kind of get people to buy into like, stop doing that stuff that's killing our, we're down to 4 on the shot clock and we get a garbage shot. That's the kind of stuff that really tanks their offense. They need a point guard. So.
I agree with both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? When talking about Orlando. It's just like when two guys both on the same court, like it sounds good in theory, but it's just, sometimes it just It just doesn't go. Let me look at the schedule again for the last couple of weeks, because I believe I saw, yeah, Orlando's here once. I think Miami's the last game of the regular season. Okay, Miami's here twice, and then Miami's once. So 3 big games to close the regular year until you go. I had a thing, just a hypothetical. When you think about the play-in last year against Miami, it was really kind of Trey kind of took it into his own hand, as he should, of trying to really get the dub and pull it out for the Hawks. Didn't work out that way. So this year, do you have CJ McCollum on the floor? If he doesn't have it going, do you have him on the? Because if he's on the court, he's gonna take every shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I feel like he's been better. Like the first 2 or 3 games he played, it was like, dude, man, take it down a notch, and everybody on social media was like having that same reaction and stuff, and it was like, this is what CJ does. Like, he goes out and gets his shot, and I felt like Quinn had a little, I don't know, I'll say a little grace with him, like okay, let's give him a few games, get out of the system. We're playing a pretty bad team, so maybe it's okay, that kind of thing. But what I see now is he starts, and it helps Jalen a lot, because CJ is the one other guy on the floor that if they put 2 on the ball, Jalen has the ball, and they put 2 on him. He gives it up. CJ can attack 4 on 3, right? He can do that stuff. That's helpful there. And he's still a kind of, as I say, a bucket. We'll say, and stuff like that. But for me, you get in the fourth quarter, close game. The thing that I want to see Quinn. So I'll say this: coaches are always in the business of just making trade-off decisions in real time in the game, right? So close game down the stretch, Jalen's out there without CJ. The other defense starts trapping him, putting 2 on him, making him give the ball up. You don't have anybody else on the court that has that shot creation that CJ has. Now you get stuck on offense. And that's really, really hard on Jalen. Jalen needs that outlet. At the same time, in a close game, you're down the stretch and you get stoppages. I want to see Quinn sub offense, defense more. Get a Gabe on, get a CJ off for a defensive possession. Use the timeout to get CJ back off for the offensive possession or whatever that is. But right now, I think people don't realize how much work. If CJ's not there for Jalen, how much harder Jalen's job becomes. If CJ's not there to be a second guy that can kind of create offense off of him. This is the first time Jalen's ever been the guy running the offense in his career. This is the first time he's ever been the guy trying to close games in the fourth quarter. That's been up and down. It's been better of late, but they've been playing pretty bad teams, so that there's that context there as well. But CJ is super helpful to Jalen as someone else who can short clock, whatever, go get a decent shot, make that shot, get to the rim or whatever that is, because Jalen needs that outlet, because Jalen's still learning how to kind of manufacture offense late. And you do it against the Wizards, the Nets. He destroyed the Sixers in the fourth quarter. Like, he closed that game very strongly. But you go up against a top 5-6 defense like Boston or Houston or Detroit, right? That the job is 5 times harder on Jalen, because those teams are going to engineer anything they can to get the ball out of Jalen's hands and force someone else to create that shot. And for us to expect Jalen to be able to solve that right now in his first year doing this, it's too much of an ask. The feedback loops are great. Doing it against a soft defense is great. But in the playoffs, I always say the opposing team in a 7-game series, if the Hawks get to one, right, the other team has 10x the capacity to game plan against your best player than they have in the regular season easily. So everything gets way harder. Everything gets way more finely tuned. The scheme gets more finely tuned. And Jalen's never had that response. Jalen's never been in a playoff setting where he was the guy that the team was doing all of their planning against defensively. But he needs that experience, and I hope that they can kind of get there in that experience. But CJ is a grown man, and he knows what he's doing. I agree. The first, I don't know what I'll call 3, 4, 5 games, it was like, bro, come on. But I feel like he's falling in line more so, and is more of a supportive role now, and that sort of thing, and understands that he's there to help Jalen. And that's what I feel like I'm watching now, more so than it was the first few games he played.
Yeah, I now that you say that, I would love to see Jalen in a playoff setting, because I just want to see. I honestly just want him to get the reps, but just to see how defense would play him, because during this streak, against last night, he got a wide open dunk. I don't know why they just kind of just dispersed from him in the first or second quarter, but he got a wide open lane. I was like, okay. And then the Sixers game, he was kind of just dunking all over the Sixers in the fourth quarter, and I was like, he's just doing this. Like, of course he's super athletic, he can do that, but good teams aren't gonna just let him just dunk on them. Like Detroit, they're gonna throw bodies at him. Joe Mazzulla is not gonna let him do that. So I am interested to see Jalen in like a playoff setting and kind of just see him get those reps and kind of see him grow, because that's kind of what we've seen him do this entire season. Just the way defenses are being thrown at him and how he's been able to kind of work through that. And he has somebody like CJ to help him, like Glen said. So, but yeah, CJ, he wasn't the best the first 2 weeks. And Twitter and everybody had a lot to say about it. I was not a fan of it either, but he has played better. And I think, I mean, Quinn has seen it, and that's why he's in the starting lineup. So I think he'll be definitely good for them down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't remember what game it was where they were down, I think, 1 with 14. I can't remember the opponent, but he got trapped right across half court, kind of left side, left corner, and just got stuck there with the basketball. And as a person who's coached before, I'm like, I could teach a fifth grader, like, dude, your teammate's in trouble. Go get the ball. Like, so I was like, CJ was in the left corner. I'm like, come get the ball, let Jalen get free and give it back to him, cutting towards the nail. Like, shake this thing loose, But Jalen got stuck. They couldn't create a shot, and it was an ugly possession. As a coaching staff, you want to say, let's learn from that. Like, let's learn from that. Let's look at it. What could we have done differently? But I think Jalen was like, oh, they put 2 on the ball. How do I navigate this? I feel like it's maybe the very first time this year he ever got really kind of just pounced. The other team just pounced on him with 2 defenders. But he's still learning, and he's still learning how to navigate all that stuff. But I didn't want someone to come just, hey, give me the ball and cut, and I'll get the ball back to you, and you'll get a shot at the rim. That didn't happen. But hopefully they can figure that out.
I mean, if CJ on the floor and he come up and get the ball, it is not coming back to jail. I'm letting you know. But I'll say this. So if Kuminga has it going in the game, does Quinn just keep Kuminga? Does Quinn ride it out in the final 2 minutes if Kuminga has it going and Jalen's on the bench? What do y'all do there?
No, I mean, Jalen's going to close games because he needs to be the guy who's initiating everything down there, right? So so the conversation coming up to the trade deadline, and I had heard rumors this past summer the Hawks were looking at Kuminga already, like in the past summer, right? So that was in the background there as well. But the big question coming in was like, can Jalen develop as a 3-point shooter? Can he take a step up as a 3-point shooter? And I know he's been a little bit more up and down since the All-Star break, but he's been better the last few games. He's been knocking down his threes the last few games. As I said, the big change for him offensively this year is he's playing on balance a lot more than he was last year, which is huge for him. So the fact that Jalen can knock down threes makes Kuminga more playable next to Jalen. Now the key there is, and I thought Kuminga last night was his best defensive game. Now Brooklyn's a bottom 3 offensive league, so it's the measuring stick the context has to be accounted for. But like, he got to the rim, and he was as low man, he got to where he's supposed to go and kind of showed up and had presence in front of the rim and all that sort of stuff. But and then Kuminga had a last game in the offense. He wasn't really in the offensive flow at all, but he hadn't played in a while, so I think he was a little bit just not in his rhythm and stuff. But I think they can play together. The question for me is, in a late defensive possession, do you want Kuminga on the floor, or do you want Mo on the floor? Like, I have to swing towards Mo, like in that, because Mo's switchable 1 through 5, all that sort of stuff. But those 2 guys in transition, good luck. Like, good luck. These 2 guys working in transition, keeping them off the rim. That's and the Hawks using defense to create offense is really kind of where they try to produce a lot of that. So I'm excited about Kuminga, and I think they're going to take it careful with that knee because they need him available if they get to the playoffs. But I think those 2 guys to play together, and the big change is Jalen's even taken 1 step further as a passer this year, and the 3-point shot makes him more playable next to Kuminga, who's more of a middle-of-the-road 3-point shooter.
Yeah, the first 3 games. Well, I know he didn't play maybe a few games with Jay. I know Jalen was out 1 game, but I mean, it was good to see him kind of get in the rhythm, and of course, everybody wanted to see how they looked with them on each other on the court. So I don't know. I still want to see, of course, more. I don't. It really, if they don't play together at all, which I'm sure that's not going to, they're going to play together, but if Quinn decides to, let's just have him like Jalen on the court, and when Jalen's out, bring Kuminga in, that's cool with me too. But if there's a way that they could actually fit together, and like you said, Jalen's been able to kind of increase his 3-point percentage. I know Quinn has talked a lot about that. He talked about it last night. He was like, yeah, his catch and shoot is kind of improved, so that's kind of big for his offense. So if he can continue to keep shooting the ball well, I think that helps having him on the floor with Kuminga too. So like you said, he didn't have the best offensive game, but he had 9 rebounds. So that's an area where the Hawks have kind of just lacked the entire season. Their defensive rebounding in general has kind of just like been their weakness. So to have another guy like that goes and gets the boards and kind of contributes in any other way is pretty cool. I mean, Zach had I think 7 offensive rebounds last night. So
yep.
I think that was big.
That's how you know the game. That's how you know the whole 8-game win streak has been. Rashad started looking like last year. Rashad, I said this look like Rashad we seen out here. I said, hey man, maybe this is what he needed for his confidence. You know, like, give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is what he needed to bounce back.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, up until the trade deadline, they were playing basically 3-guard lineups the whole 48 minutes, and they could not rebound for anything. Now they have actual 2 centers, 2 power forwards. You know. 4 power forwards, but whether Kuminga's not playing, Mo can go. Mo rebounds fine. So they have more rebounding capability than they had when they were playing 3-guard lineups like for all of eternity up until the trade deadline.
Yeah, so that, I mean, you know, that's the thing, man. I'm like, okay, if you just tell Rashad every night, I think this is what they got to do in the locker room. You said, Rashad, hey, we playing the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Just tell them that every night, you know. Regardless of the colors, what he's seen on the schedule, everything, just say it's the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I'm saying, and just push him out there, and then just let him go. I think that's the key for the Hawks, really, to have a success. Because I mean, he's gonna be huge, and he's been huge all season. He was huge at the beginning. But Trey, I was like, yo, Rashad, we talked about it before the season, Malik. Like Rashad was like one of the key pieces of this team. Like the Hawks are probably gonna go as far as Zachary Rashad takes him. As crazy as that sounds, but Rashad is just that important, and you know, they're gonna need him if they're gonna do anything like climb out of the play-in or, you know, do anything in the first round, you know, and stuff like that. So we'll see where that goes.
It's interesting that sliding to the bench, right? When he started, he was always the 5th option on offense and just never really touched the ball enough. You know, on the second unit, he's more of like 3rd option-ish, you know, where he is touching the ball more. So I feel like he's able to get more rhythm, and it feels like, okay, I can assert myself and be more aggressive in this lineup, as to where when I play with the starters, I'm like, I never get to touch the ball. And I think that's a great way to kind of develop him offensively. And further, like his defensive value on that unit is tremendous as well. So I feel like it's been a good adjustment for him. And he looks a little bit more confident, and he looks like a little bit more like, hey, I can do some things I couldn't do when I was starting. And I feel like that's a good thing for his development.
Go ahead, Malik, if you want to say anything about that, about Rashad since he went to the bench.
I thought when he got moved to the bench, it was going to help him more than anything, because I never really thought about him being the 5th option. But yeah, when he was starting, he was the 5th option for sure. So I know Wes posted some clips from the game yesterday where he was kind of, you know, moving the ball out of the, you know, when he's getting doubled or whatever, passing it down to Jock or whatever, and he got the ball from Jalen and knocked down the 3. So I think him kind of just like not being I don't want to call him a corner boy, but just kind of just sitting in the corner and just waiting for a shot. I think that doesn't really do much for his growth. I think he needs to dribble the ball more. You know, I think he can pass and kind of just go and get his own shot and flow within the second unit. I think that's kind of where his best bet of kind of growing as a young player in the league, instead of kind of just sitting in the corner and waiting for an open shot. I don't really think that does much. And I just noticed he played 31 minutes last night. That's the most he's played in a long, long time. So, I mean, they needed every minute from him because of what he was doing with the rebounding, and of course he was hot first half. So I'm glad Quinn kind of stuck with him and played him at the end of the 4th as well. So it was pretty big to see. So hopefully he can continue to keep playing like that and And yeah, he'll definitely be a help for the Hawks if they make the postseason or try to get a play-in win or whatever.
Yeah, and I love the observation that he's not just sitting in the corner all the time. He's actually focusing above the three-point break. He's coming up and getting the ball and then attacking the three-point break, using a screen, making a decision with the ball. That stuff he would never get to do playing with starters, ever, ever, ever. So good to see him have those opportunities and have some developmental kind of space there with that role.
I want to go to the playoffs again. Would you rather the Hawks be a 5th seed or a 6th seed? I'm pretty sure this Force 4 is locked in. It's kind of been like this for majority of the season. Detroit number 1, Boston number 2, New York number 3, and then just a tier below that has been Cleveland. Would you rather see the Hawks play Cleveland or the Knicks in the first round if they made it out of the play-in?
For me, I think Cleveland is a better kind of matchup for them. I mean, I know Donovan's good, and the Harden is a weird. I don't know if anybody's been watching the Cavs since the trade that they got. Harden is having a little bit of a hard time fitting in to what Kenny wants you to move the ball, get on the ball, get off the ball. Like Harden just dribbles the hell out of the ball. Like he just sits on the basketball for a long time. That's what he's done his whole career. That's his forte. But it is a weird fit there with him and Donovan, because Donovan will get on and off the ball and move and give it up and get it back and all that sort of stuff. And Harden isn't really embracing that so much right now. It'd be interesting to see if Kenny makes some accommodation for the things that Harden does like to do more traditionally, say in the basketball. I feel like that's a better matchup. The Knicks, for me, Mitchell Robinson is a tough matchup for the centers that the Hawks bring into the game, even though he's the backup center. And then defending Cat in space, like O can probably handle some of that, but like it might be a role for Mo to play. So the Knicks play 5 out. The Cavs do not play 5 out. And so the Cavs playing 4 out more so, that's a better matchup defensively for the Hawks with their center kind of position that they have. So I think the Cavs are the better matchup, where the Knicks just are really physical. Josh Hart's a super physical defender. Brunson is really great at kind of creating his shots. Mikal has a lot of length defensively, and all the games we remember watching Mikal defend Trey, on ball, and they would find ways to try to get Mikal off of Trey when Trey was still on the team and stuff. But I feel like the Cavs are the better matchup there for those reasons.
Only reason I say Knicks is just I feel like they're just inconsistent. I don't know. I feel like out of them and the Cavs, they're pretty much inconsistent. But at the same time, if you get the Cavs in the playoff series, we all know James Harden kind of just shrinks. So that's kind of like your best bet as well. So, I mean, they both have their weaknesses. I think I prefer the Knicks. I just feel like they're just, you could have a chance. You have a chance. I feel like you have a really better chance just because of you really don't know what you might get out of them, because you know what you're going to get from Jalen. Cat can, he'll give you 30 and 10 one night, and he'll just shrink again, like maybe James Harden does. But I don't know. I think I'll just the fact that you don't really know what you're going to get from the Knicks every now. I'll definitely pick the Knicks for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's interesting for me to think, because there are times Cat sits a lot in the second half. That happens. They throw Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby out there at the 4 and the 5. That is a huge. They have so much size and strength. That's a tough matchup. Positionally wise, that's where I kind of focus on the Knicks being kind of tougher. Now, if Mike Brown wants to roll with Cat a whole bunch and not play Mitchell Robinson, tip your hat, thank you. We don't have to deal with this guy who gets 12 offensive rebounds a game. It feels like, But I mean, OG is freaking awesome. Just absolutely, really, really, really good. And Robinson has improved his conditioning so much the last 2 or 3 years. It's just amazing. When his first 1 or 2 years, you see he didn't really commit to his conditioning. Now he gets up and down the floor. You can tell he really invests in his conditioning. So that's where that position, I feel like the Hawks would just be pretty small comparatively. There where Mobley's not the biggest guy in the world, and Jarrett Allen has good length, but it's not the same thing. I feel like the Hawks could contend more with that, 4-5 versus Cleveland 4-5 a little bit better than that. If Brown swings towards a heavy, there are times, if you've not watching the Knicks, he's playing Robinson and Cat together more now than he did at the beginning of the year. He'll play those two guys together now where he wouldn't before.
Another thing I'm looking at is the second round. Say you do work your way up to number 5, and you beat Cleveland in the first round. Then you got Detroit or you have Charlotte. They can't beat either one of them jokers. They can't beat either one of them. So it's like maybe with Kuminga, because you had a couple of close games with Detroit where it came down to the final shot, but Charlotte is just no dice. So I want to ask you guys, if it's Charlotte 8 and Detroit 1, do you see Charlotte giving them a true run for like is it a real legitimate Charlotte could win this series? Because I think they can. And if they see the Hawks in the second round, I think Charlotte can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll say that right now. See, no one's saying this right now. I want you guys to document this. March 13th, Rashad said Charlotte has a real chance of making the Eastern Conference Finals. I want to hear, nobody saw this coming. I want to hear it. I said it. Okay, with that being said, 1-8. Hypothetical 1-8.
Let's talk about why the Hawks struggled against Charlotte and Detroit, right? So this is before the trade. We'll put it in that context. Charlotte switches everything 1 through 5 the whole game. They did that the whole game. And the Hawks could not ever figure out how to beat that 1 through 5 switch. And it just bleeds the shot clock. You get down to 8 on the clock. You got somebody like 1 foot behind the 3-point line. Like nothing's happening. No one's moving. And they just suffocate you off defensively. Charlotte just absolutely suffocates you because they don't play centers who are too big. I mean, when, they got a rookie who's, plays some, but he's probably out of the rotation in the playoffs. But they just switch you 1 through 5. Detroit, on the other hand, when Duran's on, they're going to switch you 1 through 5. Like he's going to get to the level and help and get back, and a little bit different scheme. But they'll switch 1 through 4 on you. Like they'll do that the whole game. And the Hawks have not had the experienced player who can like detect like, okay, they're switching us 1 through 4. This is how we attack that, And so for me, it's like it'd be interesting to see in their current form, can they diagnose that better with this team, like with this roster, 1 through 5 switching and the 1 through 4 switching that Detroit gives you. Because when Trey was on it like Trey would want to possess the basketball, try to figure it out. And they look up, there's 6 on the shot clock, and they get a terrible quality field goal attempt, right? Can this roster do better in diagnosing and figuring out how to attack that scheme? We won't know until we see them play those teams again with this roster.
Wait, what did you ask, Rashad? Did you ask if who will win?
If it was a hypothetical 1-8 of Detroit and Charlotte, who do you see winning? Do you see Charlotte really, giving Detroit a scare in the first round?
I think they could. I was talking to Lauren about this like last week or 2 weeks ago, and we were sitting here doing the scenarios of like, okay, what could happen if this, and I was like, dang. I mean, the way Charlotte's been playing, I feel like it's possible. I actually have not seen them two play each other in a minute, if I'm not mistaken. But the way Charlotte's playing,
it was the fight.
Oh yeah, the fight. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's been a minute. So yeah, I mean the way Charlotte's been playing, and then I don't know. I'm still not all the way sold on Detroit because I feel like they have Cade, and then it's a whole bunch of other guys. Of course, Jalen Duren is doing his thing, but I don't know. I'm still skeptical on like what they can do, honestly, when it gets to playoff time. So that's why I feel like it could be a good matchup. I still probably would give it to Detroit since they've just been playing well all season, and I just think they are probably the better team. But I am scared for Detroit if they go like second, like when they get in the second round. If they make it to the conference finals, like, okay, what are we gonna do if K doesn't have it going or something? So,
and then the follow up to that, kind of what Glen pretty much touched on, was if the Hawks do climb up to 5 and they beat Cleveland in the first round, are you scared? Do they stand a chance pretty much against Detroit or Charlotte, who they have struggled with mightily?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's going to be Cade's first time playing as kind of a top seed. That's going to be a new thing for him. Start against an 8 seed or whatever. That's how it looks anyway. Boston might surprise us and get all the way to Boston wins a bunch of games, right? In that sense, we'll see. But it'll be his first time really with like a lot of space to game plan against him. They can give the ball up. Like right now, like Tobias Harris doesn't scale in the playoffs like he did 5 years ago. Other players on the roster don't scale, as well. Asar is a good defender and kind of coming along and kind of does what he can do. And they got some young, good defenders on the roster as well. But teams are just be like, Cade's not beating us. Someone else have to like create a shot, make a shot. Cade's not beating us. They call it the head of the snake, terminology. And we're going to just force it out of his hands and make someone else make the play. And it's going to be interesting to see if there are other playmakers on the roster that can navigate a playoff defensive scheme like that. I think they're the struggle. I think that they don't have another like a 1B and playing next to Cade that can do those sorts of things. And so seeing them deal with that is going to be interesting. Charles Lee's a great coach. He's a really great coach. His team plays really knows how to play defense. So if that ends up being a matchup, it's going to be a fascinating matchup in that sense for me.
So you say no chance, Malik.
Nah, against Detroit
Or
right
Charlotte.
Nah, as of right now, I don't think so. Maybe if they get Charlotte, I think they have a chance. As much as Charlotte's been kind of like beating up on them in the past, 2 matchups or whatever,
3 years.
Right. I think they have a chance. I don't know against Charlotte because Charlotte doesn't. Well, the Hawks don't have much playoff experience either, so it's kind of just two teams.
It's not 2021. All them boys are
gone. The Hornets are young. Oh, they don't have any playoff experience. I'm like, the Hawks don't either, really, unless you're looking like at Nikhil or Buddy or Gabe or whatever.
CJ, shout out CJ.
Yeah, CJ. Yeah, so I don't know. If anything, I think that series would probably go 7, and I think it would be actually a good series. I think that'd be a good series.
Yeah, Detroit has such a singular dependency on Cade, like running the offense. Charlotte just moved. Charlotte, they no one possesses the ball from like more than a second. Like they move it, they move. They move the ball. So there's not one singular dependency that Charlotte has offensively, and they will cause the defense to collapse on one side, rotate for a wide open 3 on the other side. They're so good at that stuff. Charlotte is so good at that stuff.
It's kind of funny you say that, Glenn, because it was like the LaMelo Ball show and LaMelo Ball.
And he still takes 7 terrible shots a game, but
right, yeah. He still does the set shot from the logo and the volleyball line. But ever since Charles Lee put him on the bench, that's when the season turnaround kind of happened. and it was kind of like that thing of like, hey, you're not bigger than the program, buddy. And ever since that's really when they start winning. And so that was a great call out from you of shouting out Charles Lee and stuff.
Yeah. You LaMelo, you are not an exception to our process. Fit in or fit out. Like that's coach speak right there,
And all right, so with that being said, we have about 8 minutes left in the show or so. Let's go play the machines, man. All right, here we go. All right, number 2, first try, number 2. We might be able to keep the same intro. Try number 2. Oh, see, you know how this goes. Whenever this happened, I mean that the opposite gonna happen. So let's go to let's just keep going to this negative. Hold on. See, there you go. 7. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's Cold Pete territory. That's Native Mint territory. All right. 8. See, I think you could still get A cuff around 6. Anything after 6, A cuff gone. In my opinion, we don't know the teams, but there's 8. Let's keep going. 8. Let's keep going. 7, same range. 4, Caleb Wilson, even with his hurt hand, coming back home.
He has hurt hands. Ain't both his hands hurt?
Both his hands hurt?
I think he hurt the other hand.
Dang, how you type his papers? he probably
AI.
Yeah, AI. There it is. He said, I'm declaring for the draft. I ain't no papers. Man, this is great. I wonder if Milwaukee definitely going to be sweating on lottery night.
Yeah.
There's a lot of riding on that. All right, 7, 8, 3.
We got a lot of 7 and 8s.
Yeah.
Tony's like, you're saving me some money. Come on.
Trust me, I do this in the office at work. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's gonna be 7 or 8. Okay, we got a 2 here. Okay, a 1. All right, I'm gonna do 3 more. 7, 8.
8.
All right, it's rap.
Man.
Rap.
Tony's
GG.
happy. Tony's happy.
So it's either gonna be 7 or 8. It's either gonna be 7 or it's gonna be 2.
7 or
That's
8.
really
Yeah, exactly. So you either get, and you might still get Darren Peterson if you get 2, just because of like, I think front offices are psyching themselves out too much with this AJ kid. So I don't know. You might still get him. So anyways, here we go. Jeremy Woo's latest mock draft. He's got Darren Peterson going 1 to the Kings. AJ going number 2. Man, come on, bro. You can't reward that. You can't reward that. Alex Sarr, that's 83 on your head still. That's 83 on your head. I don't want to hear nothing about Ricochet being the worst draft pick in the history of mankind. You gave up 83 points. He dunked on your head, and then he pulled up for 3 in your face. We saw the highlights. States.
I'm not gonna lie, he had a hard time that night, boy. He was like almost in every clip.
The thing was, it's like, because my first thought was, oh, it's Washington. They tanking this and like everybody else. When I seen the highlights, I said, oh, Sarr played. Come on, Sarr. That's on you, buddy. And then if you say, okay, the fourth quarter is fraudulent, which Glen and I both agree on, he gave you 42 in the first half. That's on your head. 3 Boozer to the Pacers. 4 Caleb Wilson to the Nets. 5 Kingston Flemings to Utah. I also think Flemings is someone who people be overthinking about. That's my opinion. I have A Cuff over Flemings. Oh, okay. One guy you could get, you can get the boy from Alabama. Phillips. LeBan and Phillips.
Oh, the guy. Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the one who looked off the shook his head to the dude. Yeah, him. Keaton Wagler, number 6. Okay, I like Keaton Wagler. A Cuff right here. See, I'm going A Cuff, bro. If I had the choice between these two, I'm going A Cuff, dog. I think A Cuff is the one in this draft. I mean, outside of of course, the ones. Outside of them, it's A Cuff, in my opinion. Let's go 8, Mikael Brown Jr., 9, American Ricochet, 10, Braden Berries. Where's Cole Pete at? Karen Lopez, Thomas Hall, Braylon Mullins. Yeah, Cole Pete, he done fell all the way. He done had an Ace of Newell fall. Wait, where's Cole Pete? See, there he is right here. LeBaron Phillips, he got him all the way down to 18. Cole Pete, he got him at 19.
Cole Pete is 19?
Hey, so I guess the Hawks ain't gonna take Cole Pete. They probably might take him with the second pick.
Yep.
With the Cleveland pick.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the second pick, the Cleveland pick.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Or they might end up trading that pick, knowing the Hawks.
And that's it. That's all she wrote.
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool. Any tanking or draft notes from anybody that anybody wants to shout out? Any prospects you want to shout out?
No, I've always say every year I don't look at the draft class until April, so I have no idea who these dudes are. Like, I mean, I've seen clips and stuff like that, but I can't watch college basketball. It's just mistake after mistake after mistake.
Have you seen Darren Peterson at all? Did you watch the Darren versus AJ game?
I'll watch it like a few minutes here and there and stuff like that. But there's games on YouTube. I'll go back and watch this game, that sort of stuff. So I'll dig in April, but I don't have the capacity for it until we get to silly season. A week to go in the NBA's regular season, I'll start putting some time and effort to the draft class.
Peterson is Kobe Bryant. I'll let you know that. So you're in for a treat when you watch him. He is special. He's special.
Yo, we have came a long way. Like, it was our second episode. We was like, why do they keep calling him Kobe? And now it's like, oh yeah, he's the one. He's the truth. He's Kobe. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun to see what the ping pong balls do.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen at all, so it'll be interesting to see. They got 2 shots, so they'll get the better of Pelicans Bucks, however that works out. And I'm sure Hawks fans are all like, it's not going to work out for us. Never works out for us.
Right.
We'll see.
I mean, like you said, like Tony put in that call to Adam Silver. He said we got rid of Trey for who? Corey Kispert. That should be good enough to get. Look, help me out. I would say something else, but we not getting this platform taken off, man. So, right there. Let's do it, man. Let's do the week of. Let's do the week of the close. Let's do the week of the close, man. Get out of here. This upcoming week, you have Milwaukee and Atlanta. Goodness gracious. I remember I was talking about this with Malik. Like every game, we're in a row. Orlando Monday. And that's Magic City Monday. The forbidden Magic City Monday, the restricted. So now that's Hot Wings Monday.
Hot Wings Monday.
Yeah. And then Wednesday, that's when we'll be back on with Dan after that game. Remember that, Malik?
Oh, yeah, we got Dan. Yeah.
And then next week. And then they stay in the state of Texas for Houston.
Oh, yeah.
And so okay, we'll just do these 4. Even though we'll be back on after this game, we'll do these 4. I have another win, 9 in a row in Atlanta. This might be the one to break it.
Yeah, coin toss right there. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm gonna go and say 10 in a row, and then I got 11 in a row, and then I got this is where it ends. So I got to go on 11 in a row. Where y'all boys standing at?
Why not? Why not? So I mean, it's I mean, like I said, Orlando will be the first team on the schedule that plays way more physically than anybody else they've played in a long, long time. So that'll be a big adjustment for them. Can they adapt to that? That's the thing that's there as well. And then Rockets too. The Rockets are super, 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 super physical. So they're running into teams that are going to just give them something they haven't felt in weeks. In that sense. And can they adapt? Can they adjust to that? It'll be interesting to see if they can, or if it takes a quarter and a half for them to figure out we got to deal with this physicality. Those are the tests I'm kind of have my eye out for. Is those really physical defensive teams? Can they adapt to that?
Yeah, I think they'll beat the Bucks tomorrow. That Magic game is a toss-up, but I think since it's at the crib and everybody's mad that Magic City Monday isn't happening, I think they'll just win off the strength of that. And then they'll win in Dallas. And then I do think, if anything, the streak ends in Houston. So I got 3-1.
If they go 12 in a row, I will apologize for everything I said about the win streak.
Yo,
If they go 12 in a row. But I think it ends at 11.
It's hard to win 12 games in a row. They've been playing every third day. They're going to a stretch where they're playing mostly every other day, and that is way harder on your body. It's way harder schedule-wise. It's you got to lean on your depth more. You can't play your starters 38 minutes when you're playing every other day. You can't do those sorts of things. So they're going to run into some losses here, and that's to be expected.
Yeah.
So at this rate, I guess who's it going to be? Onyeka Okongwu is going to join like the Orlando Magic or the New York Knicks and then say their fans are way better than a lot of fans have ever been, and then not speak on the franchise again for 10 years until Magic City promotion comes up and then says this is the worst thing in the history of mankind. And is that how this ends? And they get to maybe 15 and that's what happens. And the whole starting lineup gets the March Player of the Month.
Oh my God.
I feel like I've seen this from somewhere.
Boy, what a time.
Yeah, when you're playing Dallas, you're playing Milwaukee. If somebody needs a break, those are the games to get somebody a break. To make sure that you got everybody against Orlando, you got everybody against Houston, you got everybody against the Celtics. You have everybody against the Pistons. Those are the trade-offs you make. So you said we need you next game. So
this is the longest win streak since the 21 season.
Yeah.
I mean,
how long did this streak go in 21?
I don't know. 8 games?
I'd have to look it up. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was around sometime around there.
Atlanta Hawks, 2021 win streak. Okay, let's see. It was 8 games.
Okay, so yeah,
that's where they're now. Can they get to 9 here tomorrow night? I don't know what time the game is tomorrow.
If they get to 9, then you know what that means. They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. If it gets to 9, lock it in. Because if they ever have like anything above 8 after the 19 game win streak, I don't know. I did. That's a great question. Hold on. Hawks longest win streaks. There we go. Longest win streaks. Because now I want to know. All right, let me see. Longest winning streaks. Atlanta basketball. Shout out Atlanta basketball. All right, 19, 14, 12, 11. All right, 10. Okay, and then 9. Dang, they won 9 games in a row that season. Them boys hooping that year. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. So they will tie the St. Louis Hawks with the next win. Wow, against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
They're already tied with the St. Louis Hawks for one of them.
For 8.
Okay, so no, they haven't had one since 2014, 2016, more than 8 games. So this will be the longest win streak since 2014, 2015. I feel like you might as well get it to 14.
14.
Get it to 15. Get it to 15. Just get it to 15. Give yourself the second longest in franchise history.
Yeah, and then we have to shame Rashad for calling this fraudulent. So
Right.
let's own that.
We'll be back.
So hey, right now, 8 games, the most fraudulent 8-game win streak in franchise history. But we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. Let's go and get ahead and get out of here so you guys can get on with your Friday nights. Everybody, let people know where they can find you. We'll start with Glen.
Yeah, 18 on 29's podcast home. Got a Patreon as well. You can go find. But for me, it's like promote yourself. Like, man, just support everybody who's putting pods out. Just like Bryce and Ida. Like just they're all out there. They're all doing great work. So I don't need anybody's unique support. But like everybody's grinding it. Go just support everybody. Just go find everybody putting out stuff and support them. Follow them. Subscribe to their podcasts. Do all that stuff. Support them. Shout them out on social. That's what I like to see.
Definitely. And me, as always, _Malik ATL, Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to see anything on YouTube, just type in Malik Brown GSU. You can find me.
All right, man. Well, Glen, we appreciate the time so much. Thanks for stopping on a dime.
Thanks, Glen.
Like last second, kind of, you know what I mean? Appreciate you pulling up tonight.
All good. Yeah, a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys having me. It's been too long since we did something like this, so it was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
No, for sure. All right, everybody. Until next time, we appreciate you all so much. We'll see if the fraudulent, label continues. Well, not next episode because that'll still be after Dallas. It won't be until Orlando.
Orlando, yeah.
That's the test. That's the next.
That's the test.
Okay.
That's the one.
Okay. All right. So I'll apologize for calling the fraudulent. I'll name the title that and everything. But until then, I'm not buying the hype. I don't think Atlanta fans should buy the hype either. Keep your expectations low on this team because I don't think they're that good. I think they're better than the bad teams, but I don't think they're necessarily as good as the good teams this year. And that's just how I feel. But we'll see. Time will tell. Until next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Malik, Glen, appreciate y'all as always. We'll see y'all next week.